Zest portrait as he loads into the game. That was somewhat amusing to watch. Well, let's do this. Let's see how it goes. A best of 5 grand final today. $300 for the winner. $100 for second place. To the top left-hand side, the red Zerg player is Elazer. And to the bottom right, our pink Protoss is Zest. What is the argument? Well, someone said that we didn't watch what happened at the third base, and it was game-changing. And I agree we didn't watch what happened at the third base, because I don't think it was game-changing, because I literally said it was going to die. Arguably, some Lings ran in a little bit before and pushed the probes back. Is that game-changing? I don't think so, because I think the probes either kind of mine there for an extra 5 seconds, or Elazer gets them anyways after he cleans up the warp prism. So, yeah, basically. Basically, we didn't watch the Nexus die, and we watched some Hydras get stormed instead, which I think is more important. Anyways, let's go into and focus up on our grand finals. That's what this is all about right now. I just want to remind you guys that this is only the first of 2 events today. We are going to be casting Muslim, Stefano, Petit Drogo, and Denver later. That's going to be the WardiTV Weekly Season 4 Finals Group B. So that starts up in 2.5 hours from now. We're going to keep the stream live. We might keep the stream live. We might turn it off. I haven't decided yet. We might just run a bit of a rebroadcast. We might spread some host love and then come back online. Either way, it's going to be a full day of StarCraft action, because once this wraps up, we then do have that next event just a couple of hours away. So, with that said, let's kick off and see what's going to be happening with game number 1 of this best of 5. But just before we do, actually, sorry. God, things keep happening. GVL Locks coming in with the cheer 500. Thank you so much for the 500 bits. Keep up the amazing casting. Thank you so much. Thank you for the bits. Lots of bits today, guys. Lots of bits flying around. All right. Well, we are going to be seeing the Nexus coming up on the natural. The Cybercore starts up at Warp Gate, and we are just getting going. This time, we are going to focus on the game because I want to talk a little bit about Neon Violet Square. Neon's this map which becomes so weird and interesting for PvZ. It's the sort of map where you can go up to so many bases without really being under threat. And it's very difficult for the Zerg to attack. A lot of the time you'll see a Zerg, maybe like once they get to lurkers, they'll kind of position their lurkers here and try and break the natural. And maybe try and push in over here sometimes too. But it's so difficult to make happen. It's just that sort of, it's kind of like Backwater with even less places or like similar number of places to attack into. The one thing that makes Neon much better than Backwater, though, in terms of somehow being able to break the stalemate sometimes, is you can have the Overlord drops really be very powerful dropping into the main. That's not as easily done on Backwater because the 4th base on Backwater generally protects the main base from being dropped. Whereas that doesn't happen here because you'll have a 3rd base here, 4th there or here. You don't really naturally protect the main base from being dropped. So it's one of these maps where you're probably going to see carriers, but Elazer definitely has some aggressive opportunities to shut that down a little bit earlier and to at least slow down the carrier production most likely. We are going to be seeing the couple of Adepts shading back down to the bottom right-hand side. And this is cool, actually, from Zest, a double Stargate play. So the 2 extra gateways initially is actually very indicative of the double Stargate because it gets you a lot of units early while then going into a whole bunch of Phoenix. So looking to kind of set up a bunch of Phoenix coming through. I mean, you build a lot of Phoenix very quickly and suddenly you can get a lot of harassment damage. You know, you can pick off drones, you can pick off Hydras as they pop, Queens out of position, Overlords if they aren't near a Spore Crawler. So much possibility for damage to be dealt here. So going into the double Stargate, it's a cool, fun way to set it up, and I love it on a map like Neon Violet Square for the exact reasons we just talked about. You know, Phoenix and fast big Phoenix openings can maybe be a bit weak to ground attacks in, you know, with kind of Lings and Banes that you can't lift up efficiently as a Phoenix player. But, you know, bottom right, you know, you take this base, it's safe, you only have to defend the natural and free bases. Then by the time you take a 4th, you have other units up as well to back up the Phoenix. And boom, suddenly you already have 2 Stargates down for the carrier transition, which you're so easily going to be able to go into. You know, because it's Neon. So I really like the way that these players are setting up at the moment. And as we are going to be seeing these Lings from Elazer coming off to the left-hand side. A few of these Adepts are just going to shade forwards as well here. And the Roaches just being produced as well. This is a Korean server tournament, guys. Elazer currently living in Korea in the Team Unity house. As you do see the Phoenix of Zest they're going to be coming up from the bottom right towards the upper left themselves to try and see just what they can get up to. A couple more Phoenix coming out, a couple of Roaches as well, and we are going to be seeing the Roach speed dropping down on the Roach Roar. And a Robo Facility drops in from Zest on the natural expansion. So that Robo Facility starts on up. The Phoenix lift up the Queen here initially and is starting to work his way through this initial Queen. Will he get it before it drops down? Oh, that's like one of the most kind of like Shields Batman moments you can get. The Queen drops down like one hit from death. It happens again here, so instead of this being 2 lifts, it's 4 lifts. That's a lot of extra energy expended on the Phoenix. That's left lifts they can use to maybe kind of defend against Roach counterattacks, which is starting to happen. Some links already across the map as well. As we are going to be seeing the Queens though continue to die. Overlord's being killed. Elazer's taking a lot of damage. He's putting a lot of faith into these Roaches at the moment. They need to get something done over here, like a lot done, honestly. But there's the Robo and Immortal on the way out, but he's supply blocked Zest. Well, that hurts, but Elazer just lost too much. He's just going to type out GG. And Zest will just take a convincing win. Some love in the chat for Kept Nut and the Twitch Prime. Game 2, and it is already a 1-0 lead for our Korean player in this grand final. But this man has come quite the distance to the bottom right. Our red Zerg, Elazer. I mean, let me just remind you of the run that Elazer's been on to get this far here today. He started off on the top side of the bracket, and it's actually maybe not the most stacked area of the bracket, but it's definitely impressive the other players that went down before him, because that kind of shows you kind of, you know, as he took down other players, they took down other players ahead of them. So, Elazer started off with a walkover in the first round. He then won 2-0 against Rogue. He then went on to beat Yishi 2-0, who's a Protoss player from China. He then beat Shana 2-0, who took down Creator 2-1, before taking down Stats 2-0. And Stats had just taken down Special 2-0, who had taken down Alive in his section of the bracket. And also Stats taking down Leenock earlier in the day. That's a really stacked section of the bracket for Elazer to come through. It really is. It really truly is, as we get set up here. In game number 2 though, Elazer bottom right and Zest top left. Zest, I think his run is maybe the most impressive overall though. He started off with a very quick 2-0 against Patience, a 2-1 against Time, 2-0 True, 2-0 Bunny, 2-0 Cure. I mean, he looked a little bit shaky against Time, but goddamn, he's looked like an absolute beast since then. I mean, it was like the series against Time was like a bit of a weird one, because it was like a little bit close. It was like a bit back and forth. I was a little bit doubtful, but boy, did he crush Patience. Against True is a bit back and forth first game, but he won game 2 convincingly. Against Bunny, it was convincing. Cure really didn't look like he stood much of a chance either. We are going to be seeing this probe just going to be pushed across the map back home by the few Zerglings early on. And honestly, not really much to talk about in terms of the build orders once again, because it's the exact same as what we've been seeing from every ZVP so far today, and in the previous game as well. So, well, actually not in the previous game. We saw the double Stargate last game. Apologies. But from the semi-finals, it's pretty much the same sort of thing. So, just going to be seeing the Corona boost on a Phoenix here initially, push back that Overlord from scouting, and then you can go into an Oracle and your tech structures, which you want to continue with, which is probably going to be a Twilight Council and a robotics facility. So Phoenix pops out there. We do see some drones going to get ready to jump themselves in towards this extractor. And here on Acid Plant's really a map where I think Lurker play and the splitting of army play can be very powerful. You know, if you think the Protoss player takes a third base and a fourth base on these locations, suddenly, you know, there's a lot of different attack paths you can use with the Zerg. You can push up this right-hand side while pushing the left-hand side here. You can knock down these rocks and attack in 2 angles on this direction. You can even kind of come up this ramp and kind of, you know, get us around on just this base if you're attacking into a free base Protoss. So there's a lot of different ways you can attack here on Acid Plant, and that makes it a lot better for the Zergs usually in terms of being able to be aggressive. And because all of those attack pathways are choke points, Lurkers, if you can get to them, really become a very powerful unit on this map as well. In this game, Elazer does go for a lair opening. He does not go for the Evil and +1. That's a little bit more indicative, I feel, of maybe going in towards a something along the lines of a Lurk Den a bit faster, like around the 6.5-7 minute marker, rather than just sticking on Lingbane Hydra for a much longer period of time, like you've been seeing him do against Stats, for example. So Elazer changing up his style as he goes. As Zest adds on 4 more gateways. Interestingly, he doesn't add the Temple Archives. Okay, there it is. Coming down just a few moments later than I expected it to, but coming down nonetheless means he will just set up in towards the 6 gateways. Zealot, Archon, Opener. I say 6 gates, it's actually only going to be 5, so it's kind of 1 gate short. Either way, it's a third Nexus that'll come down behind this. This is a macro play with a little bit of aggression tied into it to kind of harass, slow things down. The Phoenix stays on the map to watch for units coming across. The Oracle is sent home to deal with kind of a larger swell of Zerglings, which may try and take down this base on the right-hand side. And look at that. Actually, that isn't what I was expecting at all here from Elazer. I didn't see the Rotron. I do apologize, because that's a pretty big telltale sign of the possible Nydus network. So Nydus network it is. So it's actually just going to be straight up aggression from Elazer here. Rotron, a big indicator of it. So Nydus comes up, and where does he have vision? Well, he has vision of the natural, and he'll probably on the other side of this Warlock. Now Stats has to do something, Zest has to do something about this, but his Archon's on the wrong side of the map. I feel like he hasn't seen this yet, because he's warping in aggressively. I think he needs to lift up, and he needs to recall home, because this Nydus is going to get a lot done. He's going to recall home right now, but it's going to take a little while, and the Archons are going to be a little out of position as the first Zealot's already coming in. He's posing the probes to protect these Archons, give them time to do damage. Lifts one of the Queens with transfuse energy on it to try and slow down that kind of potential play here. Zest has a lot of money in the bank, by the way. He's got 1k 400. He didn't warp in with the Prism initially, then he warped in just a handful of Zealots. He cancelled the Nexus to give him more money to defend with, perhaps, but he doesn't actually have the gateways to spend all of that money. I mean, this is such a slow fight. Eventually, this Nydus network will fall. Wow, eventually, Elazer actually gets shut down here. Did he not do enough? He's on okay. But you gotta think, suddenly he's lost all of his Queens. His roaches are gone. Stats has, sorry, I keep calling Zest Stats. Zest has the potential to harass with Archons. The big thing I think Elazer has is he forced the third base to cancel, but he didn't necessarily know that. He might have thought Zest still had the third. I'm just surprised. I can understand why Elazer tapped out, and that wasn't why I was really surprised, honestly. Like, he's, you know, went for a Nydus all in, it didn't do enough damage, and that usually is a loss straight up from that point onwards. But it really is. It really surprised me, because I really thought, when I was looking at it, I was like, well, I don't really think Zest has enough here. Like, it didn't look like he had the numbers, a couple of Archons, very low Zealot warpings, a lot of money in the bank. Obviously, it was enough, and so once he went out, he did tap on out. Guys, I don't know what you're all doing. You've seen one guy get banned, and now you're all trying to, like, you're all trying to just bait yourselves into getting banned. Just stop. Like, it's just stupid. There are literally rules in the chat. If someone breaks a rule, they get purged. They don't even get timed out. They get purged. Their message gets deleted because it just keeps the chat on course with, you know, maybe you made a mistake. You know, maybe you didn't realize. Maybe you just got a bit heated. We kind of accept second tries and second chances. But if you literally just start, you know, straight up install a mod, you get timed out for a second, you come back and you do it again. I don't know what you expect is going to happen. Like, we're literally just keeping the chat a nice place for people to talk in. So, use your brains. Let's think a little bit. Let's not get timed out, because I do like talking to you all, for the most part. Let's make the mods' lives a bit easier. Thank you, Tiger Stuff, for the cheer 32 as well, the 24816. Thank you very much. We're all going to be going into this, guys, and just waiting to see what the players are about to bring up here. Just 2 elite from Zest honestly happened so quickly that all of the hype I had around me for Elazer 2-0 in stats super easily, like, it's just not happening. Elazer really got himself into great positions against stats. He didn't try anything quirky. He didn't have his opponent try anything too crazy. He just set very good attacks. He really took advantage of stats missed micro slightly, being in bad positions, and he used that momentum to win the games. Zest just isn't letting him get that momentum. In game number 1 at least, with the Phoenix place shutting him down completely. Game 2 just shuts down the Nydus. What does Elazer do now? A more standard game perhaps? Well, I guess we'll see here very soon. As we get set up into this, and we're all going to be seeing a couple of depths. Just going to sit in the wall off and see what will happen. Are we really all now spamming message deleted? Oh my god. I have no words. That was kind of amazing. So many of you guys got onto that copy pasta pretty quick. That was pretty impressive, I'm not gonna lie. Oh dear. Plus one melee upgrade coming through from Elazer. So going back into that Ling Bane Hydra sort of style that we've seen him have success with against stats. We are going to be seeing the War Prison coming up, and well, again from Zest, it's pretty similar to what we've seen before. 4 gates this time around, not 5, not 6. So a little bit less aggressive, a little bit of a faster nexus can come down from this because you spend 300 less minerals on gateways. And we are just going to be seeing the Bane Nest coming down in the main base. So Bane Nest coming through, plus 1 melee. I mean, this is again that Ling Bane sort of initial setup in towards the Hydra's Den a little bit later on. Charge on the way up here from Zest, and we are going to be seeing the Nexus on the third coming down without issue. I mean, the Oracle here to protect it will keep it safe against most bits and pieces, of course, early. As we are going to be seeing the Queens just going to inject away on the third base, and he's going to have a few more Zerglings on the way out. Catalyst is an interesting one. I mean, the Ling Bane Hydra makes a lot of sense here, because the Ling Bane Hydra makes a lot of sense here because with the Ling Bane Hydra, the third base is a little bit harder to hold on Catalyst. It's a lot more open than a lot of other maps. It's a little bit further away from the natural. You can definitely get a lot done with Ling Bane Hydra, so it makes sense to see the Ling Bane, the plus 1 melee early. We've seen a couple of gates, the Forge coming through. A few more Overlords popping out here, and we are just going to be still seeing just again Zest continue to set up right now. A few Zealots, a couple of Adepts coming on over, and again just a Zerglin patrolling around off to the side. Queen's going to drop down a bunch of creep timbers here out on the left. So a bunch of creep being dropped out on the left, a Laser pushing creep through the middle as well. You're going to see the Stalker just poking its way through this Overlord, so getting a little bit more damage done. Just slowly chipping away. Overlord will eventually be going down here, so Overlord falls, and we do see these Zerglings of Elazer just going to be kind of sat trying to wait for maybe an opportunity to get in towards the third, but meanwhile the Archons on the map, cleaning out a little bit of creep spread, pushing that back, just trying to slow down the Zerg player wherever possible. Again, Lings try the run by, but not going to happen. Zest is playing a much more passive game. He's going straight up to Storm, so he's kind of saying, you know, come at me with your Ling Bane Hydra, you know, I'll be ready for you. I'm going to have Storm, and I'm going to hit my Storms perfectly. You can count on that. You know, I'm Zest, I don't mess around. Kind of really cool to see Zest just stomping his way through this bracket today, by the way. I know a lot of people like to claim that Zest is on a slump every couple of weeks, but man, sometimes he just shows up and he just plays like an absolute madman and just takes down massive tournaments with stacked brackets. See a couple of Archons left up, dropping back down. We can see what else is going on. We are going to be seeing 5 more Hydras on the way out, plus 2 melee will finish soon. Groove Spines continue to come on in as well. And plus 1 attack on the Forge is about to finish up, giving Zest a little bit more of a power play in his army, but it's really what you would expect to see. As the Mortal count is here, the Storms are ready, and you can see how serious he's taking this defense on the left-hand side. You can see that the shield battery, the cannons, you know, it's more defense than what we've seen in other maps, and it really is that third bit. It's just so difficult to hold here on Catalyst, and especially with the style that Elazer's playing. So Zest kind of accounting for that, and I really like it. It's really cool to see. And he's sort of just saying, okay, well, you know, this is usually a hard position to defend. I'm going to make my life a bit easier with the SimCity. Not just the SimCity, but the straight-up defensive buildings here, the side defense, to help me out. It allows him to put a bit more of his army off to this side, where he can sit and kind of deal with units coming up this ramp or this ramp instead. And then, of course, if he sees units pushing in over here, these cannons will buy a little bit of time, slow things down for this army to come back to the left and to go from there. And there you go. I mean, he's going to try and run up this ramp. Boom. Archon, Stalkers, everything shuts it down. Yes, the Banes and Hydras start to make progress over here, but a lot of the Banes already taken down. The Storm is good to get rid of a lot more of the Banelings. There's a couple left over, but they're not really connecting all that well. And the Storm is remaining here as well. Zest defends very, very handily. As We are going to be seeing those Hydras continue to push back. And as we see the Archon just continuing to push these Hydras away. Zest continue to charge on forwards. A couple of storms coming down. The lanes just disappear. And we are going to be seeing Zest continue to push up the left-hand side. And, well, really, I mean, Elazer. Everything went wrong. I mean, did everything go wrong for him? It wasn't great, right? He lost so many Zerglings just running up the right-hand side. Never pulled them back. The army hit in on the left, but Zest had a good defense. The Banelings got taken down without finding much success at all. And Zest says, this is my opportunity. He throws down an extra Stargate and the Fleet Beacon, which isn't just for like the, okay, let's build the mothership. That's a let's go into carriers. That's how comfortable he is with the defense which he's had here. And we're seeing these Zealots working their way through the hatchery. Lings continue to come on through. And we are just going to be seeing the hatchery going down. And the Zealots getting taken out, as we are still going to be seeing Lings and Hydras continue to come down the right-hand side, looking to get ready to go into the next little fight. You're going to see the Banelings on the way up as well from the Elazer. Skill Augments is finishing up now, and again, the first 2 carriers on the way. Once he gets a couple of carriers up here, this becomes a much different scenario. I guess the first 2 carriers aren't amazing, right? The first 2 carriers the Hydras can deal with. But as the carrier count increases, it becomes more and more difficult for Elazer to deal with. And it becomes more important for him to have a higher tech army, which means he has to stop being aggressive with Lingbane Hydra. Now we're going to see these Zealots are going to be able to come on through, and they are going to be able to pick off this hatchery here. So hatchery goes down, gets a drone as well. The left-hand side, we have the army setting up once again. So when we're coming through, we're going to see a couple of storms coming down on the edge of this. The Banes getting at least a connection. We are going to be seeing those High Templar pulling back, but more High Templar coming through. More storms available. A few Banelings go off in the mineral line. Not many workers killed, though. And more storms continue to just shower over the Hydras. A few Zealots come forward to deal with a few Zerglings on the right-hand side. Once more, this is an attack which is eventually going to be cleaned up here by Zest. It's another attempt from the Elazer, which just has not broken him. And considering the carriers are coming up now, the fact he's continuing to not break Zest is starting to be very concerning, because he's not going to be able to shut down the carriers if he can't break the ground army. And there's enough ground army to continue helping out against these Hydras. There's no Lings in the front of the tank anymore. The interceptors just keep on flying on in, shutting down whatever is in range. And, well, that said, the Lings coming through suddenly is actually going to pick off quite a lot of these Immortals. The carrier numbers are getting a little bit, the interceptor numbers are getting a little bit low, so the carriers are actually going to win out. Has the Elazer just done this? Zealots across the map are doing a lot of damage still, this time in the 4th base. We've seen them cancel the 5th base a couple of times over. But I think Zest has lost his 3rd. He just didn't have the interceptors for a moment or two there. The Ling reinforcements suddenly picked off so much. I mean, the last few walls just disappeared, and apparently there wasn't really a warping ready to go for Zest at all. Lings in the natural as well, getting a lot of probe damage done, so a lot more workers going down. I think it's that combination, just losing workers, missing warpings, and suddenly Elazer's broken on through here. Wow. Absolutely incredible, as we are just going to be seeing. Well, Hydras continue to come forwards, continue to just push on through, and realistically now, that's kind of it, right? The Hydras, we said it, if he can break through before the couple of carriers, or, you know, when there's only a couple of carriers, fantastic. You know, before carriers get into higher numbers. Hope you're having a good day. Is the WardiTV weekly stuff later going to be live? Yes, it is. In 2 hours' time, Stefano, the Muslim, Denver, and Petit Drogo will be here in person to play the Group B of the WardiTV weekly Season 4 finals. So look forward to that. In, what, a couple of hours from now. Exactly 2 hours from now, more or less, we'll be getting started. Alright, guys, it's still a best of 5, and it is taking a game and putting himself on the scoreboard. Our red Zerg to the bottom left-hand side. Team clashes Elazer. To the top right, our pink Protoss is Zest. Don't you just love it when someone gets so mad that they were wrong, that when they come out of their timeout, they come back and they insult everyone, and then they get so mad that they got timed out, that they have so little else to do in their lives that they just make another account and another and another? I think it's really sad. I really genuinely believe, like, I feel bad for you, Undivided, because you're literally just wasting your life and wasting your day so that I will maybe get triggered by you saying I'm a shit caster and that you can do a better job. Like, woohoo, whoop-de-doo. You have an opinion no one gives a shit about. Didn't see that coming. Instead of just like, you know, going and causing trouble and saying nonsense and wasting your life, why don't you go and do something? You know, do something with your day. Actually watch the games. You know, if you're here to watch StarCraft, then just watch them. You know, rather than just going and making new accounts and just being a complete dickhead. Jesus. Poor guy. Let's being coronavirus out here. Gotta find something to talk about in the first 2 or 3 minutes of PvZ because the exact same thing keeps happening. It's gonna be seeing a few lingers just pushing this probe away, of course. It'll be replaced by the Adept to pick up information, have a scout for the third base in a moment or two. Blackpink and one of those more standard maps where the third base is definitely very easily taken, but the third and the fourth, the distance between them allows for that multi-pronged aggression, right? You know, the attack's in on the right side, the attack in on the left side. And those bits and pieces. What's up? Cinnamon Teabag, Tier 100, Trolls will be trolls. These games are great. Thank you very much for the Tier 100. Don't get salty on stream. I'm not getting salty. I'm just generally... It just genuinely perplexes me that people have, like, the time of day to just come back and chat and get banned again and again. Like, it doesn't bother me. You can get banned as much as you want. I don't even read your messages. But, like, it just really amazes me. Thank you so much as well. Terrorine coming in with the sub gift to Neurolytic. Neurolytic with all the cheers. Now a sub. Welcome to the family. Maybe his dream is to be a Twitch troll, in which case he's doing something for the day. But in that case, I feel bad for him. What a dream that is. That's crazy. Favorite bits, guys. Thank you for the sub gift. And you're just getting set up. Where would he go? Oracle hits into the natural. You can see a few drones going down. It's actually really nice. Obviously, he gets 5 workers. 5 workers is pretty nice here right away, honestly. There's some really good damage with the Oracle. Recalls home because he's a little bit stuck? I'm actually not sure. Huh. Recall's a little bit interesting. Well, we're just going to be seeing this Phoenix coming down the south side. Starting to poke away at the Overlord here, and we do see the land, the Rotron, just from a laser coming up. So it's going to be a Roach style this time. No +1 melee, the lair a lot faster. So changing his style up from game number 3, looking to be a lot different this time. 5 more gateways coming down in the main base. And you see the Temple Archives is just dropping into play. And there's the Nydus network. So it's going to be an attempt to Nydus once again. I wonder if Elazer feels as though the last time he tried to Nydus, that something just went a little bit wrong. If he can do something a little bit better this time around. It's going to be the same build as what used in game number 2. That was on... Oh, the first map was Neon Violet Square. And game number 2 was on Acid Plant, of course. So it's kind of interesting because Acid Plant's set up in a similar way to Blackpink. The third and the fourth base are a bit far apart. You can definitely interject yourself between the bases, multi-prong on different sides of the map. There's definitely a lot of positions you can put yourself in to get damage done. But obviously Elazer doesn't seem to like this style of map. Going for a Nydus network once again. And we are going to see the Lings running forwards, and they are going to try and get us around. But there's the Nydus coming up on the natural. Queens come out, a couple of feedbacks came down, it felt like, and we are going to be seeing these Queens making some good progress. The Archon's on the wrong side of the wall. Phoenix comes in for a lift. Oracle helping out where it can. It gets targeted by the Queen's Ball. Roach is popping out. Probes will now pull in. Is this enough this time from Elazer? Warp Prism Micro here will allow for these Archons to stick around for a lot longer than they might usually do. As you can see, Zest has lost a lot of workers this time. He's down to 30 workers once again. This time it's an 18 worker lead for Elazer from this. He's already drone and he starts Roach speed. It looks like this time he was going to play it out, but this time also we're going to be seeing the Nexus on the third base of Zest is actually going to come up. So, yeah, he actually leaves the third base up here. So, the advantage that I feel Elazer had in game number 2, which he taps out of, is actually not there this time. But he did do a little bit more damage. He started droning a little bit faster. So he changed up a little bit of this in terms of his own follow-up. Going forward, see the roaches not quite soon enough to save that first queen that just went down. As we are going to be seeing the roach speed going to be about halfway done here. Wush J coming in. How you doing, mate? Good to see you in some of the other Twitch streamers around the chat, around the website the other day. Coming in with the gifted sub. Thank you so much and welcome, Hobbs LeChat, the Wardy family. Thank you so much for gifting us sub. Appreciate it. No DC4 High Templar here. Going to be finishing up and just going to be seeing those being saved for the storm, getting their energy building to use that. So Elazer's going to go for follow-up all in. He's at this point where he's only making roaches. He's droned up to kind of half saturation on the third base. And we are going to be seeing him just basically now pushing roaches, roaches, and roaches. He's looking to swarm his opponent. Now would be a great time to attack just before storm. I get the feeling that Zest will probably be able to buy the few seconds he needs to get storm completed. So let's see what he can do as he comes in towards the upper right-hand side. Double the army supply, but roaches and lings unupgraded are much worse army supply generally than what the Protoss player will have. And that will have an influence here as he gets ready to push on in. No force fields or anything, no sentries. Nice network to reinforce this as well, apparently. As we are going to see a storm coming down. And we are going to be seeing a second storm coming down too. Very nicely positioned. Phoenix hunting down that Overseer. I mean, nothing you can really do about it unless Queens are about to pop out of this Nydus. I think the Nydus is mostly just for reinforcements, get them here a little bit faster. Another storm. Elazer isn't finding the engagement just yet. And the more time that Zest has, the more time he's manning with a worker lead, the more the better a position he's going to get into. Saving this next storm, uses it now, hits the kind of the front edge of the army. Doesn't do a lot of damage, but does ward Elazer off for a few moments. I like the cross of bowels on the Morphine Archon because you can't really move that without kind of pushing it, which is a bit awkward. So they're kind of guaranteed to hit. And you can sort of see though that Elazer's army is starting to just succumb to its own weakness of not really having much more than kind of sheer number of units. The quality of Zest's army is really starting to plow through these roaches, lings, and ravagers. The ravager numbers actually staying very confident here, but the roaches that are in the front lines are getting picked apart. The lings get melted by the Archons as well. The corrosive bars are landing here and there, you know, they're getting a little bit of damage done. It's a very hectic fight with corrosive bars all over the place. Great Immortal might go to dodge with those corrosive bars. And you can see now the army supply of Zest. He went into this fight on about 50 army supply, and Elazer went in over 100. And Zest comes out of this fight with 42 army supply against 46. It's a massive win for Zest, as this follow-up attack of Elazer just did not do enough. And that's very possibly why Elazer tapped out of this game number 2 when he Nydus networked before, because he knew that maybe he just wouldn't be able to get enough done with a follow-up attack exactly like this. Now that